Now, if we look at number 8, so we're looking at number 8 from the homework from yesterday, 4-1, 4-2, 4-3 worksheet. Our first matrix is -8, 7, 4, and then we have -5, -3, 8 is being multiplied by 10, 6, 8, 4. This one here is not possible. Yeah, this one's not possible. The rest of those on that page are. Because for us to be able to multiply, the columns of the first has to match the rows of the second. Our first matrix here is a 2 by 3, and we're multiplying it by a 2 by 2. Columns of the first is 3, rows of the second is 2. Yes, since those are different, this is not possible. Because when we do the over down, we go over and down, we would have -8 times 10 plus 7 times 8 plus 4 times. This is the only one not possible on the back, that sheet there with 8 and the other 3. Because we don't have a number there to multiply with our 4. That's why the rows, columns of the first has to match the rows of the second, because it's our over and down. They have to line up. Now the next one on that sheet is a first matrix is a 2 by 2, and we're multiplying it by a 2 by 1. Columns of the first does match the rows of the second, yes? So that works. And our new matrix is going to be a 2 by 1. 2 rows, 1 column. And if we multiply this out, we'd go over and down. So we'd say 2 times 6 plus 8 times -7. Now, since there's not a second column in the second matrix, that's it. We just have 1. Then we do the same thing with the bottom. It'd be 3 times 6 plus -1 times -7. 2 times 6 is 12. 8 times -7 is -56. 3 times 6 is 18. -1 times -7 is +7. And lastly, well, 18 plus 7 is 25. And this is going to be negative. So we go over and then down. Oh, yeah, so down, sorry, you're talking about dimensions. So the dimensions, we would go down and over. So it'd be a 2 by 3 and a 3 by 3, which is possible. Mm-hmm. Yep. And, yeah. Just looking at the back ones. Yeah. Because all the ones on the back, so over, down. So if you're not sure, I would check the dimensions. Or just throw them in the calculator and it'll tell you for sure. Because if it's not possible, invalid dimensions, invalid gem. Because with the multiplication, yes, yes, yes. 8. 2, 3, 4, is the only one not possible. So there's only one on the homework that doesn't work. The rest do. All right. What we're looking at today are determinants, a determinant of a matrix. Now, to find the determinant of a 2 by 2, we multiply these two here and subtract it from the multiplication of these two here. And that's it. So if we look at this first example, we're going to multiply 5 times 9 and subtract from it negative 4 times 8. Now, so we do 5 times 9 minus our negative 4 times 8. Questions on how we set this up? Well, 5 times 9 is 45. Now, we can do 8 times negative 4. 5 times 9 minus negative 4 times 8, yeah. Negative 4 times 8 is going to be negative 32. Negative negative makes a positive, giving us questions on this here. So if we look at the next one, our one diagonal is going to be, yes, 0 times negative 11 minus our diagonal going the other direction would be 6 times 4. Well, what 0 times negative 11? Well, it would be 6 times 4 is huh? So, yeah, so our diagonal going from left to right, going down left to right is first, and it's the first one, and we subtract from it the diagonal going from right to left. Yep. Questions on this so far? Are you ready for the next one? Okay. So here our first diagonal, the positive one, is going to be negative 6 times 8 minus our other diagonal, which would be negative 7 times 10. Negative 6 times 8 is negative, what is that, 42? No, yeah, 48. I'm thinking of 6 times 7. Minus negative 7 times 10 is negative 70. But our negative negative would make a positive, negative 48.
Is it always negative or is it always minus?
Mm-hmm. You got negative 22? Did you put in negative 7? Did you put positive 10? Did you add or subtract the 2? So negative 6 times 8 minus. You flipped it. Because the negative 6 times 8 needs to go first. Because the diagonal going from left to right is going to go first. The diagonal from right to left is going to go second. Last one. So our diagonal going from left to right, 7 times negative 4 would go first, minus our 5 times 9. So this would be negative 28 minus 45. Negative 73. Yep, that's all we're doing. No. Okay. Diagonal rule, rewrite the first two columns to the right of the determinant. Draw diagonals beginning with the upper half left hand element, multiply each element in the diagonal. Repeat this process then with the right. Find the sum and subtract the first sum from the second. So, what we're going to need to do is first rewrite this. So the first step is to rewrite the first two columns to the right of this here. So this here is going to be our first diagonal, which is 4 times 2 times 9. Questions on this first diagonal? Now with the 2 by 2, we just had the 1. Now with the 3 by 3, we don't just have that diagonal, we also have this one here. 8 times 6 times -4. And then lastly, -8, yes, thank you. -8 times 6 times -4. And not quite. We'll get there in a second. We're just going to focus on the diagonals at this point. And our last diagonal is 3 times -3 times 5. Questions on this so far? We put them on the right so that we can find this diagonal. Because technically what we're doing is wrapping around the 1, but it's sometimes hard to picture that wrap, so we put it next to it. Now, let's go on and multiply these out. 4 times 2 is 8, times 9 is 72. -8 times 6 times -4, 192. And lastly, 3 times -3 times 5 is -45. Okay, we feel good with this here, yes? Now all of these, because again on the last one we took the ones that were going from the right, from the left to the right, and subtracted it from the ones that were going from the right to the left, yes? All these diagonals are coming from the same direction, yes? So what we're going to do is take all three of these here and add them together. So we're doing 72 plus 192 plus -45. I just stick that in the calculator, let it do it for you. $219. Yeah, because 727. So that's one part of it, because we took all the ones going from the left to the right, yes? Now we got to go from the right to the left. Now I'm going to get a different color for my pen. And so our highlighter, our first one that we can do is, well, -8 times -3 times 9. That'd be our first diagonal. Our next one is going to be 4 times 6 times 5. And our last one is going to be 3, 2 times -4. Now, probably one of the questions is, when do we know to stop doing diagonals? When I don't have 3, because if I tried to do a diagonal next to the last one in green, we have -8, -3. I don't have anything else. We've already taken all of them. Well, what is -8, -3? Well, the next number would have been what? Our first one was -8, -3, 9. We have them all taken care of. That's why we wrote the 2 to the side. Now we just need to multiply -8 times -3 times 9, 216. 4 times 6 times 5, 120. 3 times 2 times -4. Now again, since they're all heading in the same direction, we're going to add these three together. $312. Is that $312? Okay. Questions on how we got to this point? Almost. So what did we do on the last ones? We took the ones going from the left to the right and subtracted from it the ones going from the right to the... So which number is going to go first? Because 219 was the one going from the left to the right. And we're going to subtract from it the ones that were going from the right to the left. So the determinant of this is questions on how we did this here. Not bad. A little tedious, but not bad. We ready to look at the next one? Now the nice thing about this one here is we don't have a lot of writing around it. So I can just come in here and say -5, -2, -4, 9, -1, 6. So our first diagonal is going to be -5, -1, 2. Our second diagonal is going to be 9, 5, -4. And our last diagonal is going to be 4, -2, 6. Now we can multiply these out. -5 times -1 times 2 is 10. 9 times 5 times -4, I believe should be -180. 4 times -2 times 6. And we're going to take all three of these and add them together. Switch color of my pen. Now we're going to go the other direction. 9 times -2 times 2. Then we'd have -5 times 5 times 6. And lastly, we have 4 times -1 times -4. Well, 9 times -2 times 2, I believe should be -36. -5 times 5 times 6 is going to be -150. 4 times -1 times -4 is 16. And again, just like before, we're going to add all these together. -170. Yes. So our numbers going from left to right go first. So -218. And we're subtract from it the diagonals going from the right to the left, which is negative 170. While our negative and negative make a positive, negative. Questions on how we did this here? We can do these in the calculator. So we'll look at the next one. But for us to be able to do these in the calculator, well, the first thing we got to do is put the matrix into the calculator. So we go second matrix and over to edit. We'll put this in matrix A. Now our matrix is a 3 by 3. So we have negative 8, negative 4, 4, 0, negative 5, negative 8, 3, 4, 1. So we type the whole matrix in. Questions on how we type this in? Once you get it typed in, we go second quit. We got it typed in. Now we're going to go second matrix over 1, 2, math. And we're looking for the determinant, yes? First one in that list is determinant, DET. So we'll hit enter. Now do not hit enter again because it's going to give you an error. Because it's taking the determinant of nothing at the moment. We need to put matrix A back in. A, enter. So second quit, then go second matrix, go over 1, find determinant. And hit enter. Now we need to put matrix A next to it. So second matrix, that first list, hit enter. And then hit enter one last time. And you should get, so the last determinants on that page is negative 60. Yeah. You could also do the 2 by 2s, but again, just like we saw with yesterday, we can do the 2 by 2s by hand almost as fast, if not faster, than typing the whole thing in. Questions on any of this here? That's it. I can take it. Now with determinants, the only matrices that we can take a determinant of are square matrices. If it's not a square matrix, we're not able to take the determinant of it. But you have the rest of the time to work on this here.